G'day everyone, Turbo Tristan here. Today we're going to be using our demo K24 A3 block to show you guys some really awesome new products which I've got here from T7 Design. This one we're actually going to be fitting to Ronda, but we're going to use the dummy engine to show you how it all goes on. And the reason for that is we've got some huge racing headers in the way for Ronda, and we've got the subframe that goes around here, plus the engine bays all dark. But I'm going to show you how to fit this. This is an oil filter relocation kit, which is what you would need if you were going to move the oil filter to a different space that's easy to get to, or if you're going to be running an oil cooler kit, which is what we're going to be running on Ronda. We'll come back later on after I show you how to do this on this engine and show you the finished product on Ronda with the oil cooler and the relocator all set up and ready to go. The other product that we also have ready to go, which I will also fit to our K24 A3, is this K20 water outlet adapter. Now this replaces where your top radiator hose comes out on the side of the engine on the other side. I'll show you how to fit that up in just a moment. This one is actually the prototype, so we've got a much larger design here with the logo. They've redefined that and put a different logo on there. So the one that you'll get when you purchase one of these will be slightly different as far as the logo goes, but the item will be exactly the same. This one, we're not going to run on Ronda. I'll probably switch this over onto my Kswap Civic because I run a K20 style top hose, and it's got a little bleeder port here because you'll need that when the engine is in the Civic and the radiator is much lower to help bleed the air bubbles out. And we've also got the heater hose outlet here, so you can block that off or whatever you like. Comes with all the hardware you need. So I'll show you how to fit this one in just a moment. Even comes with a -16 fitting for your radiator, but we'll get to that one in a minute. First, we'll show you how to fit up the oil filter relocator kit on our dummy engine here. Once you've removed the heater hose and the factory oil cooler, pretty interesting actually. There's a little sort of radiator fins and stuff that just circulate the water through. I don't really know how that is going to be effective, but I guess for a factory car that's just putting around the streets, that would be fine, I guess. Don't forget, clean off the old O-ring and discard that. You won't be needing that again. From there, take your brand new O-ring, which is supplied in the kit from T7, fit that onto the back of this. Position this guy in place like so, and then you can put on the supplied brand new high flowed bolt that goes through the center, and then that goes on there like so. Now, one really cool thing about this kit is you can angle it up or down, or you can run it straight out. Now, it is designed to work with their timing chain tensioner covers like so, which we do have on the spoolup.com.au website. These raw finish ones are actually run out models, so we've got those, and we've got the straight flat black ones with the white T7 logo in there. So they just go on here like so. Looks awesome. Or you can run the oil drain, which this is one here. So this is like an extra additional oil breather you could use it as, or you could use it as a turbo oil drain. Comes with an O-ring which seals there nice and easy, so you can take it on and off again, and a -10 fitting. These come in raw as well as black with the T7 logo in there. And the good thing about these ones as opposed to other ones on the market, these are all billet machined, and they're actually a nice smooth flow design. Whereas the other ones I've seen are just straight square 90-degree angles there. They look like pipe fittings from the plumbing store. Whereas this one is a really professional piece that is being billet machined and scalloped inside there nice and smooth. Once you have that on, the next thing to do is tighten up this Allen key here in the middle. It's quite a large one, so make sure you have a big Allen key toolkit with you. Next thing we're going to do is take some RACEWORKS push lock fittings. These are also on the Spool Up website, so they're the -10 push lock. Really simple to use. You just push the hose on here and they'll hold a couple of hundred PSI and won't pop off, provided you push them on all the way correctly. and then you can just simply put that on here like so. Now these are really good if you have a race car, if you're doing some track days, if you're giving the car a hard time. So another application for this particular item, which I think would be really awesome, is if you're doing a rear-wheel drive conversion with a Kswap. Last thing you want to see is a big blue or black or different color filter sticking right out the front of your engine bay. Run one of these, put some nice lines out of the road and around to somewhere nicer where you can access your filter nice and easily, and it's not going to be an eyesore in the engine bay. So really awesome product. Can't wait to get this on Ronda and run the oil cooler. Like I said earlier, you can move this up and down and run it forward, backward around the engine. You can run straight lines if you're doing a rear wheel drive conversion, or you can run some 90s, 60s, whatever you like. We're probably going to run some 90s or 60s and get this out of the road of all of the belts and stuff, which is going to be here, and run that up to the front so that we've got optimal, the shortest lines possible, because we don't want to drop any oil pressure, and also out of the road of all the belts and things, and then up to the front of the car to the oil cooler. Now, one more thing you might be wondering about is, what do we do with this hose now? It's really quite simple. You just can unbolt the 10mm bolt right there, pull this guy out. Don't forget to take out the O-ring that's there, and then T7 also make these block-off plates here, nicely machined, and they just press straight into there, and you can block that off. And they also make a secondary one here, which is for the water pump side. That way you don't have any of those lines running anywhere around the car. Or you could just simply run this one and put a return hose with a bend in it back down here to the water pump and just leave that as it was. But for how neat and tidy these look and how simple it is to do, you're better off chucking these in there as well and getting rid of any of those water lines, a potential leak down the track, which you don't want. Just like all the other T7 items I've shown you today, these are available on the spoolup.com.au website, and they come with all of the hardware and fittings you're gonna need to fit them up yourself. Nice, beautiful stainless Allen key hardware, really dress up that engine bay. Now, one last awesome and exciting feature of the T7 design oil filter relocator kit is actually the ports on the other side. Now, you can choose to run your fittings out of either side, top, bottom, anywhere. It's totally up to you which way you want to run things, but they actually have 2 more ports, and one of those has the option of running a extra pressure sensor. So this has got the 1/8 NPT thread on there. You could run your factory oil pressure sensor here, or an aftermarket one, which I highly recommend. That'll work with any of your gauges or your aftermarket ECUs, and even the factory ECU when you wire it into something like a Honda, or you've got the option of an additional oil pressure or oil temperature, or you could swap out that and run an oil temperature and an oil pressure, just so you make sure you're monitoring the health of your engine. And I think that's a really good design feature, and it looks excellent. So we're definitely going to be taking advantage of that. When we put it over onto Ronda, we do have an oil pressure gauge, which we will put inside the cabin somewhere, and we'll definitely be utilizing this fitting right here to do so. One other thing that I thought I'd mention around this side of the engine is the alternator underdrive pulleys. These are really, really awesome to stop you overcharging and over revving your alternator. As we all know, we want our Hondas to rev to the moon, and depending on how much you are revving yours, you can swap it out to a 10% or a 20% underdrive pulley. And you would have seen months ago, I ran a 10% one on my Civic, and I think it's absolutely awesome. Nice, lightweight, really tidies up the engine bay and goes straight on, really, really easy. You just rip it off with the rattle gun, zip this one back straight on, and off you go. Depending on how high you're revving your car and how much you're revving it, if it's a circuit or a track car, you'll be at between 7,000 and 9,000 RPM all day long. So you're gonna wanna get yourself one of these bad boys. Now, the next item I wanna show you guys is the T7 Design K20 replacement heater hose and radiator hose outlet. This guy is really nice, and it's much better than this janky thing which we have going on here. It comes with the right sized hose fitting, so you can just run the radiator hose straight on there and clamp it on. or it comes with the Big Daddy. I think that's a -16 or a -18 or a -20. Not really sure, but a really big fitting. Pretty sure it's a 16. Now this engine is a K24A3. This is what we get here in Australia, and it has the fitting that comes out to the side. A lot of people, just like myself, when they do a K-swap, they switch over to the K20 style, and then that allows you to run different breather ports, because what actually happens is when you put a K-series in a Civic, the engine sits quite high and the radiator sits quite low, and you need the radiator cap or the filling point to be at its highest peak. So this guy actually has a bleeder port in there to help bleed air out. You can run additional fittings or sensors in there, and there's the other fitting here which you can run AN lines for your heater hose outlet, which is this one right here. So to take this guy off, really simple. There's actually 4 bolts that go in there, but we just ditch that. This kit even comes with a brand new gasket, which goes straight on here. Slide this guy on. Fits up like a glove. And as usual, you get some brand new hardware from T7. And actually to fit this on, you actually need to remove the studs, because it comes with nice cap screws or the Allen key fittings that go in there for a nice flush smooth look. Most likely going to stick this one on my Civic. Like I mentioned earlier, this one's a prototype. It's got the big logo. They've since redesigned that to be a bit more subtle, so check it out on the spoolup.com.au website, how to get yours. Really awesome, and I think you'll agree that it looks great, fits well, comes with everything you need, all of the hardware. If you wanted to, you could block off this one if you're not running a heater core, and you could run extra bleeders off here as well to help bleed your coolant in your engine quicker, easier, and more effectively.